celebrating Easter with us at Honey Creek Church.
Good morning, Honey Creek. How are you today? Hey, it is really glad that you are all here as we celebrate Easter and what Jesus has done for all of us. You know, earlier today, Pastor Jerry asked some really good questions. Questions like, what does Jesus' resurrection actually mean for my life? What difference does it make for us today? And if we can agree that these are really good questions. Because if I'm honest, look, many of us are still dealing with some real life issues. Even when everything looks fine on the outside, something feels off. Something feels incomplete. Deep down, we know we need God, and not just some people or broken people, but all of us. We all need God. Let me ask you, have you ever carried something that was never yours to carry? And I mean something completely out of your control. Mistakes that you can't undo, pressures you didn't ask for, expectations that you can't meet. And somehow all of that ends up on your shoulders. We try to fix them, but there's just some things that we cannot fix. There are some things that only God can fix. I don't want to ask for a show of hands because I'm pretty sure that everybody's hand is going to be up because we all feel this weight. So what do? Sometimes we try harder. Sometimes we try to stay busy. We try to manage how everything looks on the outside. But the truth is that most of us are trying to fix something that we don't fully understand. So we fill our lives with distractions. We chase success, relationships, validation, anything to avoid what really is going on inside. And yet, it still feels incomplete. Truth is that we cannot fix what we do not understand, which means that the real issue might be even deeper than we think. What if I told you that the real reason you feel this way is this constant tension, this dissatisfaction, is because something in us has been disconnected for a long, long time. It's a 3-letter word that I know we don't like to talk about, and that is the word sin. It's about our relationship that was broken at the very beginning, even before you and I were ever born. And if we're going to understand, we have to go back to where it all started. Let me just say this right from the beginning, just to get this out, that sin and death did not start with you. And you are not the source of it. It all goes back to the beginning. It goes back to creation. Pastor Jerry mentioned that Adam and Eve in the garden, everything is perfect. Adam and Eve, they knew their identity. They had a purpose. They had a call. They had responsibility to take care of the earth. God himself made them in his own image. They were not broken. They were in close relationship with God. Period. But then, everything changed. When the enemy stepped in and distorted what God had said. Adam believed that distortion. It was deception. It was a lie. And in that moment, everything was turned upside down. You see, Adam and Eve, in a real sense, they were scammed out of something that was given to them freely. In the beginning, they were close to God. Now they're distant. In the beginning, they were complete, and now they are broken. In the beginning, they were led by truth, and now they're led by distortion, deception, and lies. And here's something, I do not want to minimize this, but in a way, Adam and Eve were so young. They were still in a place of innocence. They lived in such a protected state, they didn't understand what was really happening to them. And here's what we all need to understand, is that we are not sinners because of the things that we do. We do what we do because sin is already in us. And because sin is already in us, death follows. The thing is that it's just not our actions, it is our nature. Think of it this way. Just like some physical traits get passed down to you from your parents, like eye color, hair color, height, some physical features, some unwanted health conditions, something else got passed down to all of us from Adam and Eve. And that is the tendency to turn away from God. And that separation, it is extremely deadly to us. In Romans 5:12, it puts it this way, that when Adam sinned, sin entered the world. Adam's sin brought death, and death spread to everyone. That's all of us. And here's the thing. Your nationality, your background, where you were born, or whether you were raised as a Christian or not, it doesn't matter. Because when it comes to sin, every one of us share the same root. We all come from Adam and Eve. Let me put it this way. How many of you are familiar with that game that we played during Christmas? It's a white elephant gift exchange, right? By the way, this is one of my favorites because this is the time where if I get a present that I don't like, I can actually rewrap it, bring it to this, and I get to exchange it for something better. Hopefully. Because here's, last year, our men's group actually had one of these, and I brought a golf barbecue grill tool set. But I ended up with a used water filter gadget thing. By the way, whoever that was, thank you very much. You know what I'm bringing next year to the party. But it's kind of like this. We all inherited something that we didn't ask for, and we can't get rid of it. Thanks a lot, Adam and Eve. But this causes, can we just say it causes some problems? Because when we inherited, what we inherited from Adam and Eve, this sin puts us in a life that we were never designed to live. We were not created to live this life. We were separated from God. We were separated from God, and we couldn't get back to Him. There was no way back. So God stepped in and made a way. Jesus came to die on a cross to pay for our sin. He came to do what we couldn't do ourselves, to break the power of sin, the hold of the enemy, and to restore that which was lost. But here, this is great news. In fact, we can clap and we can be done. But I got questions now, because I can't help to feel this, and maybe you probably feel the same thing too. And one of my biggest questions is, what does this actually mean for me? Because here, we hear that Jesus died and rose, but if we're not careful, this ends up being just information and not something that we experience. Because I believe that Jesus came and died and resurrected, but am I experiencing it? You know, I can check and I can tell you, no. And last time I checked, not everyone is living and experiencing this. And if I am honest, life feels the same sometimes. We still struggle. We mess up. People hurt each other. The world is still broken, and guess what? People still die. So it's a fair question to ask. What does it mean for me? What actually changed? You see, the cross didn't take away all our tendency to sin in one moment, but it did break sin's power over our life. You see, before Jesus, sin wasn't just something that we did. It actually had control over our lives. We were stuck in patterns that we couldn't break, patterns passed down to us from Adam and Eve. But because of Jesus, something broke. The path of sin we were heading was broken. The path of sin that we were heading on the direction that we were going, it was broken. We were not stuck anymore. We had a choice. And now, because of Jesus, we can choose Him freely. You don't have to be stuck anymore. You're not forced anymore. You're not free. You are free to choose the life that God designed for you. The original path that God intended has been restored in Christ. Let me illustrate that for just a little bit. In case you haven't noticed, I'm Hispanic. I speak two languages. I speak Spanish and I speak English. Spanish is the language that I inherited from my parents. They actually passed it down to me. But I didn't have to go to school to learn Spanish. I learned it because I was surrounded by it. My parents spoke at school, books, teachers, traffic signs, friends. I was surrounded by it. But when I moved here, I had a hard time using my original language because I was using what I had inherited and I was trying to use it in a different place, and it didn't work. What I ended up doing is my parents actually had to put us in classes to learn English. We had a teacher that knew both languages. He knew how to speak Spanish and English. And it became much easier for me to learn English because I was surrounded by it all day long. My new friends, they spoke English. School was English. TV, radio, everything was English. But what if I chose not to learn English? Where would I be today? What would my life look like? And it's like this in the same way here. Choosing Jesus is just as important. And here's the thing. I still speak Spanish. I haven't forgotten how. And this is almost the same way because the old patterns may still be there, but they no longer have control, and now you're learning a new way to live. Here, I don't know about you, but I used to think like this. If this is true, then why do I still struggle? Why is there still pain? And that's an important question, because if we don't really answer that honestly and we don't understand, then all of this feels fake and it feels out of touch. So let me be clear. This change, this is not instant. This is a process. You see, when you say yes to Jesus, something real happens. And it's not an emotional thing. It's not a mental thing. It's a spiritual thing. God places His Spirit inside of you. And from that moment on, you begin to change. Not completely, but you do change. Not right away, but it's progressively. I did not start speaking English the moment that I came here. It wasn't natural. I couldn't. I didn't know. I began to notice that as I was learning English, I began to notice that my thinking changed. Before, I used to think only in Spanish, but now there is something inside of me that I have been learning that has allowed me to think in English too. Same thing here. You start to notice little changes. The way that you think begins to change. The way that you respond begins to change. Things you wanted, they don't feel the same anymore. And the things that you never cared about, they start to matter. But then there is tension. There is a type of friction. You see, we have spent our whole lives being us. I have spent my whole life being me. I am good at being me. You are good at being you. And nobody else can be like you. And now God is inviting all of us to something new. He's inviting you to become someone that you have never been before. And that doesn't happen automatically. It takes learning. It takes practice. It takes new life patterns, new decisions. And here's a big one. It takes new environments. It takes new spaces. It is a completely different way of living. And that's why this new life was not meant to be done alone. I didn't learn to speak English on my own. I was part of a classroom with other students like myself who were learning. And we had a teacher who corrected us very gently if we didn't pronounce the words right. This teacher would actually model in front of us and tell us how to repeat the word and how to pronounce the word, and we would imitate the same movements. And this is actually where the church comes in. Church is not just a place that we attend on a Sunday for an hour. It is a place where you learn to live this new life with others. As a church, I know, Honey Creek, we have a mission that patterns this new life. And the mission is to lead people into an authentic relationship with Jesus. It starts very simple. Guess what? You're here. Step one. Great. But what's next? Then you get connected. You keep coming. You start learning. You begin to take small steps. And let me make this even more personal for a moment. Because this is just not something that I believe or that I am speaking about. This is something that I have actually experienced myself. You know, a couple of weeks ago, I actually told my personal story. And I mentioned that 20 years ago, I had everything that a 20-some-year-old could have. I was on top of the world. I had it all. And then in a matter of months, I ended up losing everything, and I ended up hitting rock bottom. And what changed in my life was not a process. It was a process that started in that moment. What changed in my life was that I had people around me. I had Christian family. I had a pastor. I had leaders. I had people that have actually walked this life before me. So they knew what I was going through. Let me tell you this. This is kind of a secret of mine, but the best people in my life never let me quit when life got hard. The best people in your life will never let you quit when life gets hard. And here's the thing. I wanted to quit a bunch of times. Lots of times. And let me be honest, I'm not perfect. I've had ups and downs. I've messed up. I have sinned more times, I think, that I can count. I don't have enough fingers and toes. But those people never let me quit. And I can tell you with full confidence that I am not the same person that I was in my 20s. Nowhere near. But I'm still growing. And if I had to describe this journey for me, is that sometimes you take 3 steps forward and you take 1 step back. Sometimes you take 1 step forward, you take 1 step back. But there are moments where when you grow. There were moments where I actually had to get back up again. But here's the difference now, is that you don't quit. You don't quit. And you don't let anyone else pull you away or make you quit from what God is doing in your life. I didn't let other people pull me away or make me quit when I felt like it. Let me just be clear. I'm not saying that this is going to be perfect. I'm not saying that this life, guess what? Hey, come to Jesus, everything is going to be perfect. No. But I will tell you this, that it has meaning. It had meaning for me. It had purpose. It had direction. And I am grateful for the path that I have walked because I've never been alone in my journey. Life still has its challenges, but now I don't have to walk through them by myself. And that is what makes a huge difference. Life isn't about avoiding hard moments. It's about not facing them alone. Hear this. Life is not easy. Whether you follow Jesus or you don't. But with Jesus, you're not in it by yourself. You get help. You have strength when yours runs out. You have someone walking with you every step of the way. And I can honestly say that I had no idea how meaningful and fulfilling and refining this journey would be, even in the challenges. The difference is not the absence of difficulty. It is the presence of God during those difficult moments. So instead of running from God, you begin to run to God. Instead of hiding in shame, you actually find grace. And instead of thinking it's over, God shows you the way. So here's the thing. What do we do with all of this? Look, you don't need to have it all together. It starts with a simple yes. A real, honest yes. We say yes to Jesus. Look, we have another song coming up. And this is a time where I want you to take a moment. Take a couple of minutes while the song will be playing. And spend some time with God. This is about you and God at this time. Be yourself and just tell Him whatever is on your heart. It could be something as simple as this. Jesus, I know that I'm not the best guide for my life. I don't want to do this alone. I need you. So yes, please show me. Teach me how to do this new life. Or maybe you prayed something like that before, but you have not stepped into the life that God had called you. So what do you do then? You know what? You come back to church next Sunday. And the Sunday after that. Or you join our Wednesdays study groups. Whatever it is, don't stop coming. Be a part of a community. But what about the rest of us? Those who are maturing, those who are growing, those who everything is going well. Today, I would say be grateful. Give Him thanks and praise Him. And do one more thing. Help someone else. Be a guide. Be one of those people who didn't let me quit when I wanted to quit. Your growth it's meant to impact and encourage others. Listen, we are here for you. This is what we do. We walk with people, we grow together, and step by step, day by day, God begins to change you. He begins to shape you. He builds something new in your life. And so today we say this with confidence that Jesus defeated sin and death. And that's why we can declare that He has risen. I'm going to ask you to please stand as we sing and open our hearts